106.5 FM and online. It's the After 5 Guest with Wynne Thomas.
And I'm delighted that my After 5 guest today is Tina Francis, an artist of acclaim. How are you, all right?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
No problem at all. Tina, you've been painting for over 30 years.
Yeah, over 30 years now.
And so how did it start?
I've got 3 children, but the second daughter was born severely disabled.
Right.
So I was only about 22 when she was born, and I had to think, what can I do? You know, she needs to go to all the hospitals. She's got so many special needs. So I've always liked to draw, and I went with my dad to the local market, and I picked up some Chinese paints for £1 and some canvases, and I said to my dad, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to paint. And he went, who's going to teach you? I said, I'm going to teach myself. So I started doing the local wildlife and the local beauty spots, because I lived in Devil's Bridge in them days. And I asked the souvenir shops if they wanted them. So it went from the souvenir shops to people asking me to do exhibitions, and that's how it went.
So you sold your first work, did you?
Sold my first work. Sold them all.
And you've never had any training?
Never. Not one day's training.
So how do you sort of get perspective of looking at things and how to...
I've always been able to...
I've
always been able to draw, and it's all trial and error. You're always learning as an artist. Although I've been doing it for over 30 years, there's always something new to learn, so, you know, it's all trial and error.
So would you go out then and sort of sketch with charcoal and things like that to get your first images?
Yeah, or take photographs. Yeah, sketch or take photographs. I do everything, really, because I like a varied amount of work, so I don't mind doing it from photographs, and I don't mind doing it, you know, live, so it doesn't matter for me.
It's just incredible, because you see so many well-known artists who went to art school and were actually taught how to paint, and you do this sort of thing without any training. I
think because I have not been trained, nobody can tell me that I can't do it.
But what have you ever sort of had your work sort of looked at by art experts or artists?
Oh, years ago. I was so disappointed years ago. I nearly gave in. There's many a time as an artist you try to give in, because I'm a realist artist, and being a realist artist is not that popular with the critics. So my father was so proud of everything I did, and he said to me, oh, you've got to go to Aberystwyth University, see the critics, right? So I went to the university with my work that I'd done, that everybody was buying and this and that and the other. And they said to me, oh, your work's okay, you've got talent, but you're boring. So I came out there and I thought, oh, no, I feel like quitting. And I was just about putting everything in the car, and this woman came over to me and she goes, can I look at your work? And I wasn't taking any notice of her, because my heart was still broken by what they said. Yeah. So I said to her, yeah. So she goes, oh, are any of these for sale? And I wasn't taking any notice, so I went, yeah, they are. So she said, how much is that one? And I just picked a figure out of the air. And she said, oh, wait, hang on there, I've got to go to the bank. And she came back with the money. So I thought from then on, my critics are the people who buy my work.
Yeah.
I never took any notice any of that.
Well, you know the saying, art is in the eye of the beholder, isn't it?
It is in the eye of the beholder, yeah.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I've done a lot of artwork over the years. I've done a lot of art interviews, and some of them I go, okay. Yeah. You know, because you see some stuff in art, you see some stuff in paintings, in art galleries, and you think, you just picked up the brush and just went... And
I know. And it is like an Emperor's New Clothes thing, especially this day and age, because I still love the old mentors, you know, the original artists. Do you know what I mean? That they did all the realist work and everything like that. But because of photography and all the things today, people are looking for something different. But I think it'll come round again, because the people that buy my work are still into realism and still want to know what they're looking at. They can tell what it is. Do you know what I mean? So there's still a market out there for people like me.
But I saw a painting of yours, which was, I may be wrong, but I think it's the Mumbles.
Yes.
And you're looking, instead of looking that way to the west, you're looking to the other side. And you've used a kind of a purpley kind of tint on the sea. Was that something you remember doing?
I don't know if I remember doing it, because I painted that many pictures. I probably did.
So was that you trying to be different, was it?
Maybe. I paint so many different things, as you know. I don't like to limit myself to anything.
So, put a paint to start then. So you'll go out, you either look charcoal, draw it, or you get a photograph, and then what happens then?
Well, I like to draw it really well because I think the drawing is the first thing. To get the drawing done well first and then to start to paint it. So then I'll probably underpaint it depending on what I'm painting with either like an acrylic paint and then put oil on top. But I painted so many different ways depending on the subject. You know, like I'm doing the miners, they were all sketched out in charcoal. Then I undercoated them in acrylic, and then with the tiny little brushes, I did all the details in oils.
And so you're not an oil person, you're an acrylic and oil person. You're
Acrylic,
mixture,
oils, watercolours, pastels. I say to myself, I specialise in oils because that's what I do my own work in. But I also teach, so I can teach in all different mediums, but I prefer oils because I like the 3D effect.
What's the easiest to work with?
Everybody's got their own
for
thing.
You then, for you.
For me, I think I've learnt my craft with oils, and so for me, oils work for me.
What about and watercolours? You find that difficult to do?
It's not that I find it difficult. I've got this way of wanting the painting to stand out.
Yeah.
And with my work, when you see my work, I like the 3D effect, and oils give you that 3D effect.
But there are artists who try to get depth in a painting for years and years and years. You seem to have achieved it pretty well.
I think I've got an eye for, I'm very observant. I think that's one thing that, as an artist, you tend to always be painting in your mind or whatever. Whatever you see is an object of something to paint. So, yeah, I think that's probably where I've got it from.
Because I looked at one of your paintings, I think it was last night, and the texture was incredible of the trees and the vegetation around, I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's incredible how you create that.
Yeah, I do spend many hours in the studio. I think it's a lonely profession, so you've got to be dedicated and motivated. And I like to put as much detail in the work. I think the more detail you put in, the more realistic it is.
So that lady came to you in Aberystwyth and bought one painting off you. How much have you sold since then? Have you been a prolific seller?
I've done really well, thank you.
Good.
Yes, I have done very well. But it's like all things. You do really good in one way and then not good in another way, because when I'm actually working, I'm not making any money. Do you know what I mean? Because I've actually have to do a lot of exhibition pieces. So while you're doing all the exhibition pieces, you're not making any money. Do you know what I mean? So it's trial and error. Luckily for my husband, he supports me well.
Says you sit in the back of the studio. Yeah. You said about your daughter. Was it?
Yeah, my daughter's severely disabled.
Yeah, but you've had health problems as well, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Which held you back a little bit, did it?
Yeah, I've had. When I had Joy, that was severely disabled, and I was only 22, and I lived in Devil's Bridge, there was no one to help me, or there was no counselling or anything like that, and I found, having to look after Joy, especially with all her needs, I found that it took its toll on me, because I became agoraphobic and couldn't go out and tended to hide it from the people that were around me by making excuses why I couldn't go out and things like that. So for quite a few years, I couldn't go out the door.
So that kept you indoors to sort of complete the work then, did it?
I think I could hide it behind the fact that I was an artist as well, by staying in and saying that I can't go out. But I got to the point where I couldn't even put washing on the line, or even go and pick the milk bottles off the steps.
Oh dear, that is bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
You talk about training. I mean, you've had no sort of formal training yourself, so do you find it easy to train people?
I think because I learn from scratch, I know where they're coming from.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I think there's many people who say to me, I can't do this and I can't do that. And I said, well, in my vocabulary, there's no can't. I don't believe in can't. Otherwise, I wouldn't be where I am now.
So what sort of age group are you training? From students up to older people?
All ages. Whoever is interested in art.
Now, you talked briefly about the miners' paintings you've done.
Yes.
And you've got an exhibition coming up next year?
Yes, I'm going into the National Swansea Industrial Museum. So I'm very happy about that. My miners' paintings went into the local mine of Kevin Coyd last year.
Yeah,
So all the season they were in there. And then the CEO of the Big Pit loved my work and said it needed to be seen. And he had a friend in the National Museum. and he wanted her to have a look at my work. And she saw my work and said that she definitely wanted me to display it, and they were excited about it. So, yes, quite honoured, really.
So is that going to be an exhibition where people can actually buy your paintings?
I don't really want to sell these particular paintings.
Right.
I painted these paintings because it was inspired by my husband, who works in the open cast mine in Taigwaith. And a few years back, we didn't know whether he was going to be in a job or not, as it was 2 mines already closed with a loss of nearly 200 jobs. And being a local artist, I saw this firsthand, especially with my husband and the community and everything. And so it was a passion of mine to put this and document this real faces, so that it's not a statistic like everybody puts, and it's just numbers. These are real people who work really hard, that have fathers have done it, grandfathers done it. So I wanted to put, instead of having the blacked out faces, I wanted to have the real faces of the real people that work in the mines. And so with the cooperation of the men that work in Taigwaith, I've been able to pick out people that I think would represent the majority of the people that have worked in this industry.
And is it all open cast, sorry?
It is all open cast, except that I've added a few women, and I've added some of the materials of the past, because it's called the changing face of mining, because most of the miners were from the open cast deep. Not the open cast, but the deep mines.
Yes.
And as it's changed, they've gone into open cast, or they've had to go into other things which are to do with that.
Yeah.
So it's all linked, and I thought that nobody's ever documented the fact that the mining has moved on and this and that and the other. Everybody knows of the deep mines, but they still work hard. They still have long hours. I really felt like, people are in that job all their life, maybe straight from school or something like that, and now they're going to have nowhere to go. And I needed that to be documented. So when I painted this, I wasn't painting it for money. I literally wanted to document it. And that's why I gave up the paintings last year free of charge to the mining community.
Right. Just a pity that there aren't any more deep mines in Wales, so you could actually go down there and actually...
Yes, that was the deepest mine, wasn't it? One of the deepest mines in Wales.
Yeah, just a pity there, because I did do years ago with the late Valerie Gans, who'd actually done stuff underground as well, so it's just a pity it no longer exists for you to do that as well.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with the exhibition next year.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming to see me this afternoon.
You're so welcome.
That's my After 5 guest today. That's Tina Francis. What date is that going to be in the...
all of July and all of August of next year.
There we are. So why don't you pop down to the Maritime Museum, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the Industrial Museum.
Yeah, to see Tina's paintings there.